Well, good morning and welcome to today's Sarah Says Daily Brief. Today, per popular request, I'm going to be talking about Mean Girls. You know, interestingly enough, there are so many dynamics to this particular topic that I'm only hoping that I can get it all in the short amount of time I've allocated for this. The concept of Mean Girls is not new, but what's frustrating to me as a woman is that we've been having this very same conversation for decades. And there's a phrase that says, if you keep trying the same thing over and over, expecting different results, that's a version of insanity. And I believe in this case that's a bit true. You know, as women, we're talking about Mean Girls as if it's something new, but it's not. And we as women have got to make a decision. It's 2017, my friends, and at some point we have to decide if we're going to be the agents of change or if we're simply going to be the folks who are talking about it's still happening. And so I want to talk about some of the dynamics today about Mean Girls, why it happens, why we act that way, and at the end of the show, I'm going to talk about what you can do about it. The first thing that I think is really important is that you begin to understand that we're still primitives. It just is. We want to think we're so evolved. We want to think that we're such an enlightened society, but we only became humans about 200,000 years ago. And about 500 years ago, as a species, we began to be more civilized. And only about 100 years ago did we form really enlightened societies through technology, etc. You know, 100 or 500 years in the evolutionary process is nothing. Our brains are still operating on the lizard brain. And what that actually is, I talk about it a lot, but I want you to understand, in the back of your brain, you have a gland called the amygdala, and it responds with the fight, flight, or freeze. And as women, we still are responding to this lizard brain without recognizing what's happening. We have tons of emotions as women. As a matter of fact, I have a little thing called the feeling wheel. Men usually operate in the middle. I'm not good at this. Men usually operate in the middle. Women are all over this chart. But here's the sad fact of the matter. The fact that we have emotions does not make us emotionally intelligent. As women, we think we're emotionally intelligent because we have so many emotions, and nothing could be farther from the truth. So part of the Mean Girl phenomena is that we are emotionally immature, emotionally unintelligent. That lizard brain is responding in a way that when we feel threatened as women, the threat to our ego is no different to our lizard brain than a threat to our physical selves. And so I want you to walk through my logic with me. When we're young, women are taught to be nice, to play nice, to be nice to other people, to like everybody, and to be likable. And then when we get older, when we don't like another woman, for whatever reason, we automatically assume that there's got to be something wrong with her, or there has to be something wrong with me. Now, I can tell you which one I'm going to go for. There's something wrong with you. There's not a damn thing wrong with me. And so, because I don't like you, that means there's something wrong with you. And the very next thing that happens is that lizard brain kicks in. And we're mean whether we recognize it or not. You probably thought, and I've tricked you a little bit, you probably thought today's show was about other women being mean. But the reality is that I want you to understand how you're mean. I'm mean. It's almost ingrained into our psyche, into our physiology, that we are competing with other women. We're competing with them in our minds, we're competing with them as if there is a shortage of oxygen. There's a shortage of success. And so I want to talk just briefly. You know, there are so many surveys done, and there's so much conversation about this that at some point in time, we as women have to say that's enough. But the only way that that's going to happen is when you recognize that it doesn't matter if we like each other. We are socialized that if we don't like each other, then that's a problem. The real problem is what happens next. I don't have to like you. You don't have to like me. But what matters, and where the mean girl phenomena, in my opinion, comes in, is that we don't have enough emotional intelligence to be in the same room with someone we don't like. Just think about that. If you're in a room with a woman that you don't like, I have very strong responses to that physically, that I physically feel like I don't like this person, and so I can't be with them, I can't talk to them, I can't look them in the eye. Does that not strike you as a problem? Our inability to control these responses is what perpetuates the mean girl phenomena. What I would challenge you to do today is to look at the people that you don't like. I think it's BS to say, find something you like about the person that you don't like. I think it's a complete and utter waste of your time, of your mental capacity, of your emotional. What I would challenge you to do is think about the people that you don't like. Good morning, Nina. Think about the people that you don't like and think about your responses. I don't care if you like them. It doesn't matter. What are your responses to them? I want to interject here that there, in my mind, is no war so much on women as there is on women waging war on each other. It just is. Men aren't the enemy, my friends. We are. Men aren't even paying attention. God love them. Men are on the golf course laughing about how women snipe each other to death. Nothing will change until we do. And if you want things to be different, you have to become different. And so I want to tell you to stop looking at other people and saying, oh, they're the mean girls. Your responses are the only thing that you can control. And so I would say to you to please, please, please today, think about the people you don't like, the women that you don't like, and think about your responses to them. It is okay not to like them. I give you freedom. You are released from the obligation of liking other people. Don't do it. Don't fall into that rabbit hole that we as women have to like everybody. What matters is what happens next. How strongly, how powerfully are you able to control these responses that you have? And I want to talk to you about a couple other things that I think play into the mean girl phenomena, and it's probably going to hurt you, and I'm sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry kind of thing. Back to we think we're so enlightened, we are so civilized. I love history, and when I talk about history in terms of like gladiator games, for example, we think how heinous that was and how primitive that was, and there's blood and gore and people are killing one another, and there's folks in the crowd watching this death and destruction and laughing and eating their food and ha 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 ha. Help me understand how different that is to us sitting in the comfort of our own homes watching digital gladiator games via Housewives of. It's glorified emotional and psychological violence. Granted, I don't think it's reality so much, but we're glorifying psychological violence of women bullying and being mean to other women. And we say that video games for kids are so bad, but Housewives of franchise is one of the biggest franchises. Well, who's watching it? The women. And we think that's normal? That normalizing this psychological violence against other women. So I would encourage you to think about, how are you purporting that? How are you pushing forward mean girls in the way that you treat other women that you don't like? We don't have to like each other. I can't say that enough. So action items. I want you to be thinking about this, because this is where it gets tough. This is where it's going to get tough. Gossip is psychological violence. Gossip is psychological violence. What comes out of your mouth matters. And I want to tell you that if you're engaging in gossip, if you're listening to gossip, you are perpetrating psychological violence on other women. It doesn't matter if it's true. Part of that is we want to say, well, if I'm saying it and it's true. And let me be really transparent here. I listen, and that makes me part of it. And I have to work on that too. But part of the mean girl thing doesn't mean that we love everybody and that we find things that we love about everybody. That's not what the breaking the mean girl phenomena is not about us loving other women. What it is about is recognizing that as women, nothing's going to change until we change. And we can't say that we're pro-women if women are being mean to other women, if we are bullying other women, criticizing other women, tearing other women down, not supporting other women. And what is so fascinating to me is that we say we're all pro-women until we run into a woman that we don't like or we don't agree with. I know you probably logged into the show thinking I was going to talk about other women being mean to you, but the reality is that we are part of the problem. We aren't the victims, we're the perpetrators. We're the mean girls. I'm the mean girl. You're the mean girl. And how are we going to break that? So the first thing is we have to choose. We have to choose to change thousands of years of evolutional behavior. We have to choose to develop our emotional intelligence, that how you feel doesn't matter. You have to respond in positive ways to how you feel. I may feel like I don't like you. You may feel like you don't like me. The bigger question is, as I say all the time, what happens next? Your ability to control your responses to how you feel is what matters. We don't have to like each other. We have to behave after that. We have to be aware of what happens after that. And I also want to say something else, because I've heard this all the time ad nauseum and it makes me nuts, which is not a very far trip. The whole respect is earned bullshit is just that. Respect is not earned, my friends. Admiration is earned. Respect is given because of who you are. It's a subjective thing whether or not you respect another woman. It's subjective. What if you're wrong? What if you just don't like her? So she can't earn your respect. There's nothing she's ever going to be able to do. It won't matter. She's never going to be good enough, smart enough, fast enough, polite enough. She's never going to be part of the crowd because you don't like her. So get away from the respect is earned theology and go with the respect is given because of who you are. And let's begin to treat other women with respect. So the first action item here today to break the mean girl loop is stop sniping each other. Stop sniping each other. It's emotional violence. It's psychological violence that we're perpetrating, but pointing the finger at the men, the war on women, the mean girls are a greater threat to women, I think, than this war. I'm not comparing it to domestic violence. That's a different thing, so don't go there. So the first thing is that we have to stop sniping each other. Women have to stop sniping each other. Gossip feels good. Do you know that there's actually a physical response, a physical a high that comes from that? Because we're not hurting each other physically, but we're hurting each other mentally and emotionally, and we get high on that. So emotional intelligence, your ability to control how you feel and how you respond to how you feel. The second thing is that we have to make a choice to support other women. By that I mean that we support women. Whether you like or agree with them, we support them. I support your right to have that opinion. I support your right to think that. We are either for women or we're not. You can't say you're pro-woman and then attack a woman who disagrees with you. You're not pro-woman at that point. You're pro the ideologies that you agree with. And don't fool yourselves. The other thing is being pro-woman doesn't mean you're anti-man. I can't say it enough. Men are not the enemy. Men are not the problem. Men are not even paying attention to this. Men are on the golf course laughing about how we snipe each other to death and blame them, and they don't care. It doesn't hurt them because they know they're not the problem. The other thing is, I want you to walk away from the concept that men and women are equal. We're equally valuable. Men and women are equally valuable. I don't want to be equal. I want to be a woman. And all that glory, what all that means. But as mean girls, we criticize other women for not being strong enough, We criticize other women for not being aggressive enough. We criticize other women. Oh, and let a woman get a job. Let a woman get in the boardroom. You will never hear, rarely will you hear a woman say, I wonder who she slept with to get that job. Would you say that about a man? Wonder who he slept with to get that job? You know, if we want to support other women, that means somebody may get that job you want. A woman may get that job you want. Your emotional intelligence will be showing in how you respond to that. Your emotional intelligence shows when you deal with other women. Do you attack other women that you don't like or who disagree with you? You're not pro-woman. Don't feed anybody that line of crap that you're pro-woman if you can't handle it when another woman supersedes you, when another woman gets that job you wanted. It just is. It doesn't feel good, but it just is. The other thing is, what are we teaching our daughters about mean girls when they hear you talk about that bitch down the street? What are you teaching the young girls in your life when they hear you gossiping? What are you teaching the young women in the groups or organizations that you may be a part of when they see you as women manipulating and just being so antagonistic to one another? What are you teaching them? Nothing different than you learned. You're either an agent of change or you're part of the problem. It hurts. It hurt me when I realized that I had to be an agent of change, and that meant that I had to change myself and I had to look at some ugly truths. Just because you don't see things my way doesn't make you wrong. Just because I don't see things your way doesn't make you right. We have different perspectives, and if we can't, as women, learn to respect one another's differences, we will never move forward. We will live in lizard brain land. You will be controlled by that lizard brain in the back of your head. And the final thing that I want to encourage you to do today is to choose to develop your emotional intelligence. And that means that today you're going to decide that you're going to be different. That you're going to decide that your responses are going to be different. That you are going to treat women differently than you have. It's okay to be wrong, but what matters is when you discover better, when you know better, you do better. So I just want to encourage you to recognize, I'm going to summarize real quick. We're the mean girls, not them. That other girl, no, you're the other girl. I'm the other girl. We have to stop sniping each other. We have to begin to focus on what happens next when we don't like each other. We have to recognize that gossip and talking about other women, sniping other women is psychological violence. And we cannot be a part of that. We also have to decide that we have to focus on equal value with men and women versus equality. I celebrate men. I love men. I like the way they are different from me. I want to be different. I encourage you to embrace who you are as a woman and stop trying to be a man. Be a woman in a man's world if that's how you have to think of it. But it's our world too. And the other thing is support other women, even when they supersede you. Even when they get what you think you want. When you get in the boardroom, bring other women with you. When you become successful, pull other women up with you. There's enough oxygen for everybody. There's enough success for everybody. There isn't a shortage of successful positions for women. There's enough CEO opportunities to go around. And then finally, I want you to work on your emotional intelligence. Just because you don't feel something about someone doesn't mean that you can't treat them with respect. Respect is not earned. It's given because of who you are. Thank you so much for joining me today for the Sarah Says Daily Brief on Mean Girls. I do this. This is by you, for you, and about you. If you have ideas on topics or things that you want me to talk about, you let me know. Thank you, and see you next time.